Hello friends, my name is Bethany Winslow and I'm a volunteer with the Community Virtual Library, and I wanted to give you this brief overview of getting started in Second Life. The Community Virtual Library got its start in Second Life in 2007, but we have expanded and have branches in multiple virtual worlds. I want to encourage you to consider getting started in Second Life because it's been around for 16 years and it's a great place to get started. It has a huge amount of people and organizations and so many different things and places to go and see. If you're an educator interested in immersive learning, there isn't a better place or a better time to get started in virtual environments, and Second Life is a great place to do so. I did want to mention very briefly about the culture of virtual worlds. If you have never been a desktop gamer, then virtual environments and working with avatars might be something very, very foreign to you. But I want to encourage you to get started in Second Life, because once you get started here, you can go anywhere. So it's definitely worth your time. And I also want to dispel what I think is a myth. There is, I think, a persistent myth that the learning curve is really steep in Second Life, and I actually don't think that has to be the case at all. The interface that I'm going to show you with the Second Life viewer, you really don't have to use very much of it. If you just want to get in world and meet some people and attend some events, you don't need to use much of anything. So it does not have to be complicated at all. So the very first thing you would do, of course, is to create a free account by clicking on sign up. You don't need any money to be in Second Life at all. There's plenty of free avatars and clothes and anything else. You do not need any money at all. So go ahead and click on sign up, and once you've done that, you're going to download what is called the Second Life viewer. Now there's other kinds of viewers, and I use a different one called Firestorm, but you can just get started with this one. There's nothing wrong with it. And there's the Mac version or Windows. I'm going to just show you how easy it is to get started. But a viewer is like, you can think of a viewer like a web browser, except instead of looking at websites, it's letting you look at a three-dimensional virtual world that you navigate. So I already have this installed on my computer, so I'm going to click on that to open it up. And when you click on that, you're going to go ahead and put your username and your password in. I actually have a bunch of different locations I've already traveled to. You can see recommended places to go visit. When you get started in a virtual environment for the first time, especially when you're brand new and you don't know anybody, this can feel very intimidating. So I want to encourage you to come to the Community Virtual Library, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You know, you might not feel ready, and some of these environments you might not feel are appropriate. There's a lot to see in the virtual world, a lot. But I think of it like a city. It's just like a city anywhere in the world. If you send your students to go to a museum in a city near you, you would recommend that they be careful where they park their car, for example, because you know, cars get broken into, or there's crime or unsavory things that happen in a city. But that doesn't stop us from going to cities, because they are vibrant places filled with amazing people, educational experiences, artwork, and etc. So think of virtual worlds very much like urban environments in your own area. You just need to know where to go and how to connect with the communities of educators. And that's what Community Virtual Library is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Login. Okay, now that we're logged in, I'm just going to show you the basics of what you need to get started. You do not need to worry about most of the things that you see on your screen, but you do need to know how to navigate. So first of all, before we do that, I'm going to just show you what each of these buttons does on the side of the screen. This is your menu on the left-hand side and along the bottom. So each of these are different things. If you hover your mouse, they tell you what they do. Now, first of all, when you first arrive for the very first time in Second Life, you're going to arrive at an orientation area. It will look different than where I am right now. And the very first thing that you're going to do is choose your avatar. And they have all these different ones. These are the new avatars they have. Literally, you just pick you click this and it'll select that avatar and it'll transform you. So it's that simple, and there's all these different ones, different kinds of avatars to choose from, and you can mix and match this stuff later. But literally, to just get started, you just click on an avatar. I've already got one that I like, and that's it. All right, you don't need to worry about it, nothing complicated. You're perfectly dressed and ready to go. The second thing that's on here is a t-shirt icon, and that's to change your avatar's appearance. Now, I'm going to recommend that you not bother with that right away. I have all these different avatars and different clothes and everything else. You don't need to worry about that, you guys. It's just not really important, and it's just a layer of complexity you just don't need to bother with. If you just want to get in the world and meet people and attend some events, just pick an avatar and you're good, right? Now, this icon of a little briefcase, this is called your inventory. This is another thing that you're not going to probably want to mess around with when you're first getting started in Second Life. All this different stuff, this is why people think the learning curve is really steep. Honestly, you don't need to bother with any of this. You really don't. Just get yourself an avatar that you like and you're ready to rock and roll. This icon here, though, you are going to use this. This is search. And you definitely want to be able to search and find places to visit and teleport to. So, for example, I would recommend that you search for the Community Virtual Library. And the reason why is this is going to be a place, if you go ahead and click on search, and you go ahead and click on the Community Virtual Library, it tells you a little bit about us. You can go ahead and just click on teleport and land at the main library. All right, I'm already in a different location on the island, so I'm not going to click on that, but that's how easy it is to find us. Just search for Community Virtual Library, teleport to the location, and then we're definitely going to want to landmark this place. All right, so let me show you what that is. So we've just done a search and found the Community Virtual Library. This is your places. It's a little globe. If you hover your mouse over things, notice that they tell you what they do. See, that's search, and this is places. So when you click on places, I already have a whole bunch of landmarks, okay? But all you have to do is click this little add button and click on add landmark. Now I've already landmarked this location, so it gives me a little notice about that. And that way you can just come back and go back to different locations, and they're just all going to be right there for you. You don't need to worry about any of the other stuff, creating folders and this and that and the other. Don't bother. You just landmark and use the add button. That's it. All right. This little icon here, it's a kind of a target, right? It's called the mini map. This you're going to use. So click on the mini map, and what you see here is this is the where we're located. The Community Virtual Library is this whole island here, and this will show you where you are. That's what this icon is right here. That's me. It says my name. And then if you see any green icons, that's another person. So when I hover that, it tells me who that is, right? So it's very helpful to know where, if there's a group of people in a location and they're all over here and you're trying to find them. That's a very helpful little thing. And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. To navigate around, you'll be able to see whether you're facing, I'm facing in this example, see how this is kind of highlighted? I'm facing northeast. I'm on the northeast corner of the Community Virtual Library island here. So I'm going to go ahead and close the mini map. And then of course the icon of the camera is to take a picture, and it will take the picture exactly as you see it. I can just save that to my computer if I want. Now I'm not going to worry about most of this stuff across the top because you don't need any of it. But right up here in the toolbar, it tells us that we're at Community Virtual Library on Cookie. And if I select this with my mouse, that is the URL to, if you wanted to email this to somebody, that's the URL, and they could just put this in their browser right here. I'm not going to save that. They could just put that in the browser and they would arrive right here where we are. So that's the only thing that you need to know about that. I'm not even going to go through any of this stuff because there's a lot of stuff in here. You don't need it, you guys. Don't even bother. You don't even need it. But we're going to go ahead and look at these items across the bottom, all right, because these are important. First of all, this is chat. And the chat feature is helpful. And the reason why this is helpful, and you can resize these things a little bit if they're in the way. You might minimize things or collapse or close them entirely. If you are unable to communicate with your microphone, chat, you literally just come in here and say, hi there. Chat is very, very helpful as a way to communicate. So you will use chat, and I'm going to just collapse it because I don't need it for right now. Speak will use your mic if you have a microphone plugged in. So you literally just click on that, and notice that when I've done that, notice that I've got these green kind of indicators, and that's letting me know that my voice is being broadcast out to anybody who's standing nearby. So I'm going to just toggle that back off. And now that I've done that, I'm not using my voice anymore. So if you ever have problems with your mic, that's okay. Just use chat instead. Okay, we all do it. Mics sometimes sometimes can be technical issues. There's all kinds of reasons. So don't worry about it. Destinations, I actually never even use this. This is a bunch of places I don't know what these places are and who's there and what language they're speaking. There's newcomer-friendly destinations, but you can use that if you like. Some people get very intimidated the very first time or the first few times they come in world. It can be a little intimidating, and that's why I hope that you will look up somebody like me or one of the other librarians here at the Community Virtual Library. So you can look me up. My name is Bethany, the virtual version. We're real people. And how you can find me is use that search feature, okay? The search feature, I'm going to open that back up, and I'm going to use this drop down to search people. Now, obviously, I'm going to search for myself, but I just want to show you how this works. Bethany, the virtual version. Click on search, and it's going to find me, all right? And you're going to be able to add me as a friend. Now, I don't see that option because, hello, I am Bethany. So, but you'll see add as friend here. You can add me as your friend. You can send me an instant message or offer to teleport me. If I'm in world, I'll accept your friend request, and that way I can teleport you to my location. So definitely search for me, and that will be very helpful to you. Now, people, when you click on people, this is going to show you who's nearby, and we can see these icons here that shows me there's a couple other people right here. I can also see who all of my friends are who are online right now. So these people are all online. You don't need to worry about trying to learn everything here. Don't worry about it too much. But that's where your friends will be when you've added me as a friend. If I'm online, you're going to see me, and then all my other friends that are not online. Okay. Profile, you can edit your profile if you want. You don't need to, right? But you can if you want. But these two buttons are the most important. So let's talk about, well, I'm going to talk about these two in just a second. But I want to talk about navigation, the most important part of getting used to walking around the environment here. So the first thing I want to mention is you use your mouse and your keyboard to navigate, as well as using these two features right here. So first of all, let's talk about my mouse. I have a scroll bar that lets me pull back. I'm using my scroll bar and pulling back and zooming in. So that's one that's very, very helpful. You can also use this to click and pan around. I'm using my left mouse button to click and pan around. All right, and that lets me kind of pan around the environment like that. Another thing that you can do is point your mouse and click on the ground, and it's going to navigate your avatar that way. I usually don't navigate this way, so I'm going to click on the ground right here, and my avatar walks to that location. That's not how I usually navigate. So this is using the mouse. Now, I can also use my arrow keys on my keyboard, the forward or up key to go forward, and the down arrow brings my avatar back. So I can go again with the up and back, and notice my avatar always turns back around so that I'm looking at the back of my avatar's head. That's kind of the default. And then the arrow keys, if I use the side, it turns me to the side and it turns me to this side. So that's basically the arrow keys, the side to side and the up key to go forward and this to go back. So that's mostly how most of us navigate while we're here in Second Life. But there's a couple other things that are really helpful. This little guy, walk. You can use these arrows. I don't ever use them, you know, to turn this way and that way. I don't use them. I use my arrow keys. But the only reason I actually leave these on, and this is all kind of large. I enlarged everything for visibility here. It's going to be a little smaller on your screen. I just keep these pinned in the corner because I use them all the time. But the other reason I keep this open, really the only reason, is to fly. That's it. That's the only reason. And you sometimes want to, again, I'm going to use my side-to-side keys and my forward key, and I'm turning with my arrow keys side to side, and I'm just going backwards and forwards again, and I can just click on stop flying. All right, so that's the only reason that I leave this right here, because flying is something that you're going to do all the time. And you know, if you click on fly, you might want to go up higher in the sky. So for example, I'm going to just pan around here. I don't want to fly forward because I'm going to run into this building, right? So this little button here is quick, get up higher. That's why that's helpful. All right. So, and of course, I'm still flying. I want to just click this little button to stop. And there we go. We've stopped flying. So this is very handy. I keep that all the time, kind of handy right there. The other and probably most important control that you have is this one. It's called your camera control. This is really important. You don't care about most of this. If I want to see what the front of my avatar looks like, I can click on the front. This is the side view, right? I'm off to the side here. That's the sort of standard right here in the back. But the most important is this guy right here, and I'll show you why. This allows me to pan around, all right? So if I wanted to zoom in and take a picture of myself, for example, you know, you can use these to kind of zoom in closer and maybe take a picture of yourself from right here, okay? But this is probably the most important thing to know how to use. Is just, you know, this is your default view right here, the back of your avatar's head, and being able to pan around real easily. Now I'm going to use my scroll bar, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to pan up. Okay, there I am right there on the edge of this beach, and this panning is very helpful to sort of get the entire view of the island. Now, there's a lot of things that you don't see that are not in view here, and that's because depending upon your computer's processing speed, you're not always going to be able to see things. So for example, I'm going to fly up and show you real quickly how much there is to see here. I've flown up here and I'm zooming out with my scroll wheel, and you know, if you don't have a scroll wheel on your mouse, you can use this button right here. It does the same thing. But one thing I wanted to explain is, see how things disappear when you pull back and then you move in, things will appear. This is quite normal, but it can be very disorienting when you're first coming into a virtual environment. It's kind of confusing. So that's why these camera controls are kind of important. You don't necessarily realize that. This has to do with your the computer that you're using and the graphics card, how much your computer can render at any time. So there's a lot of different things. And again, these sidebars here help me to orient around. I can see that I'm flying up in the air. And this is all of the island here at the Community Virtual Library. So that's just basically an orientation, and I'm going to go ahead and fly back down and then click Stop Flying. But hopefully you will be inspired to come visit us at the Community Virtual Library.